Dude Man Guy. During Smash 4's development, we got some pretty strong rumors that a Rhythm Heaven character was going to be added to the game. I had never heard of it at the time, but I saw Rhythm Heaven Fever at my store, picked it up, and I have been into it ever since. Now that I've played the series myself, the only thing I disagree with was the rumored character choice. I believe the strongest candidate for Smash Bros. Is Karate Joe. These are my ideas on Karate Joe for Smash. Karate Joe for Smash! Rhythm Heaven, also known as Rhythm Tengoku, Rhythm Paradise, and even Rhythm World, is a series that's a compilation of smaller games, kind of like WarioWare, which was made by the same developers. The only difference is that they're all musical challenges. Some have you keep a beat while adding extra riffs, some have you repeat back rhythms, and some even delve into specific patterns and musical styles. Although the franchise is kinda niche, it's still grown, possibly into Nintendo's largest series to not already have a playable character in Super Smash Bros. The problem is the lack of a central main character. The games have hosts, but they don't retain those roles from game to game, and more often than not, you spend more of your time playing the actual mini-games, which means most of the characters are seen for only a few minutes at a time. Still, if you're looking for recurring characters across the series as a whole, three come to mind: the barista who runs the cafe, one of the game's hubs, the wandering samurai, and Karate Joe. I picked Joe over any other choice for two main reasons. First, I believe he's clearly the most prominent character. The Karate Man minigame is one of the only games to be in each installment of Rhythm Heaven, along with variations of Samurai Slice and Built to Scale. Karate Man is also the only Rhythm Heaven game to be featured at least twice in every installment. Rhythm Tengoku, Rhythm Heaven, and Rhythm Heaven Fever all have a Karate Man 2. Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix has 4 games dedicated to Karate Joe, 5 if you count Karate Man Sr. He's the star of the series' very first minigame, he's one of the few characters to have a special remix in Rhythm Tengoku Arcade, and he's generally accepted as the face of the series for promotion and advertising. Just as a character choice, I think he's pretty clear-cut. The second reason has to do with Moveset. No matter who you pick as a playable Rhythm Heaven fighter, I think the concepts you want to represent are the same. You want a character that has some kind of rhythmic or beat-based fighting style. That's kind of the appeal of adding a musical character to Smash Bros. Joe makes this easy because he already comes with so many fighting moves for that exact purpose. The gimmick comes from how you execute the attack rather than what the attack is. Even if I were to pick a different character, I'd probably still reference a lot of Joe's moves anyway. Also, I think this is another appeal of Rhythm Heaven, the wacky characters. Even if you only see each one for 1 or 2 minigames, they leave an impression, and a Rhythm Heaven fighter should incorporate elements from multiple characters, perhaps in a Game & Watch-esque fashion. Once again, I don't see why Joe can't fulfill this role. I think he's enough of a blank slate to do so. For instance, he could use his own head-bobbing idle stance, but a jump pose similar to Nightwalk, an air dodge that resembles the lockstep dance, a sidestep that uses Mr. Upbeat's movement, and for his run, have his legs low to the ground while keeping a fighting stance, somewhat resembling the movement of Crop Stomp. With that in mind, let's finally get into Karate Joe's moveset. While I usually try to create movesets entirely on my own, I have to admit I was particularly inspired this time by the artwork of Kevin Fagaragan. My Karate Joe concept isn't exactly like Kevin's idea for a Rhythm Heaven fighter, but you should definitely check it out. Joe basically has 2 types of attacks: combo hitting moves that uses karate, and attacks that reference other characters by literally morphing into them. As an example, when Karate Joe does rolling dodges, he transforms into a seal from Flipper Flop in a cartoony puff of smoke and flipper rolls out of the way. This puts his moveset somewhere between Pac-Man and Mr. Game & Watch, leaning heavily to the Game & Watch side. On that note, I do think Karate Joe should keep a 2D appearance. I think it'll make parts of his design look better, like his hair and mouth that only appears for certain animations, and makes the morphing smoother. These first 2 attacks demonstrate both types of moves. His neutral attack looks like a simple karate punch, but it has a trick. If you punch 2 times in a row, Joe can unleash a powerful third punch if you press the attack button with the exact same interval of time between the second and third punches as you did the first and second punches. Basically, you get rewarded by pressing the A button 3 times to the same precise beat. The third punch in this combo is as strong as a charged smash attack. It deals good damage and can send opponents flying. Meanwhile, Joe's dash attack is a reference to Super Samurai Slice. Joe morphs into Rhythm Heaven's wandering samurai, riding a skateboard while slashing his sword forward. At the end of the attack, he turns back. Even though this move is based on Super Samurai Slice, I think the samurai should still have his cartoony 2D look as opposed to his pixelated one. The forward tilt is Joe's karate kick, a fine attack on its own, but it can also be used in conjunction with the neutral attack. If Joe uses 2 karate punches first, instead of using a third karate punch, you can forward tilt to unleash an even more powerful karate kick that deals super high knockback. Joe's up tilt and down tilt work exactly the same. Up tilt is the uppercut that finishes the Karate Man combo attack, but if used in rhythm after 2 punches, it blasts opponents upward. And down tilt is the low kick from the combo, but used at the right time, it'll make opponents slide along the ground. Besides dash attack, Joe's normal moves are like a harder version of the dancing blade attack with a high reward. Most of Joe's other attacks use references from other Rhythm Heaven games. For smash attacks, I did something special. They're all automatic 3-hit combos, like Link's up smash, and they're strong, but not as strong as pulling off one of Joe's karate combos. The trade-off is that they're easier to do. Forward smash is figure fighter. Joe morphs into a life-size version of the muscle doll and delivers a 3-punch combo. Up smash is the clappy trio. Here, Joe morphs into one member of the trio and claps above his head. Then the second member pops out of the afro of the first and does the second clap, followed by the third member on top with the final clap. The result is an upward combo ladder of 3 attacks. Down smash is tap trial. Joe morphs into the rhythm girl, who puts her hands up and kicks the floor to her sides 3 times. Joe's aerial moves are all strong single beats. Neutral aerial is air rally. Joe morphs into Baxter and Forthington stacked on top of each other. Baxter swings his badminton right in front of him, while Forthington swings it behind, or vice versa if Joe is turned around, allowing you to strike on both sides. For forward aerial, Joe morphs into a monkey, which actually is in a lot of Rhythm Heaven games. This one is specifically Monkey Watch. Joe morphs, brings his arm back, and delivers a high 5. It has a starting lag, but it really smacks opponents forward. Back aerial is Munchie Monk. Joe turns around, becomes the monk, and slaps his own arm while eating a dumpling. It's not super strong, but it's fast, and if it connects, Joe heals a %. Up aerial is Bluebird. Joe becomes one of the bluebirds from Bluebird and stretches his bluebird neck, making an upward arc with his beak. There's a few Rhythm Heaven games with similar motions. Down aerial is Lumberjack. Joe becomes the mighty lumber bear, swinging his axe directly downward while facing towards the camera. It's a powerful and pretty fast meteor smash, but it's somewhat precise. For throws, I thought it'd be fun to theme them around just one Rhythm Heaven minigame, showing off something that has many different actions, so I chose Space Dance. For his grab, Joe becomes a space dancer and grabs the opponent with a pose similar to the beginning of the pa-pa-pa-punch action. Going along with that, the pummel is the clapping pa-pa-pa motion, and forward throw is the punch. Back throw is the let sit down pose, tossing the opponent backwards, and up throw is the salute, swinging the opponent into the air. For down throw, Joe morphs once again, this time into Space Gramps, and sits on the opponent. Most characters have fairly simple recovery moves, probably because they're situational and meant to be quick. For Joe's forward floor, I just did a low punch followed by a standing back punch. Back floor is a back punch followed by a rising uppercut. The trip attack is a spinning leg sweep, and the edge attack is a low punch while climbing back up. Special moves get back into referencing multiple Rhythm Heaven games. Neutral B is based on Karate Man itself. It's Joe's basic projectile attack. Here, he punches a flower pot forward. It travels forward in a downward arc, eventually shattering on the ground, on an opponent, or just soaring off the edge. It has the same functionality as his neutral combo. If you press the B button 3 times to the same even beat, Joe will unleash a powerful third punch that instead launches a large rock forward. While the flower pots are simple, the power of the rock is comparable to Villager's bowling ball. Side special is Glee Club. Joe morphs into the 3 chorus kids stacked on top of each other and holds a long, ear-piercing note as you hold down the B button. This singing creates a visible sound force field around Joe that acts as a wall. Opponents' attacks can't reach through it and projectiles stop. It's a nice extra defense. However, the force field is only a tiny bit bigger than Joe, and the attack rapidly depletes while being used, like Bowser's fire breath. Once it's too small, attacks will start affecting you again, and it takes time for the full range to recharge. Joe's up special references built to scale. A widget box from the game appears below Joe's feet and launches him upward, which does not put him in a helpless state, but he can't use the move again until he lands. It's very similar to Sonic's spring jump, but instead of falling, the box will remain in place for a short bit, acting as a platform before disappearing. Down special is ringside. Joe morphs into the wrestler, poses, and turns back. During the first few frames of the move, Joe is treated as an invincible object that blasts opponents away, like the Pokemon in Saffron City. After that, though, he's vulnerable to attack until the posing finishes. The final smash is one last inclusion of Karate Joe's own abilities, the Karate Combo. During the final smash, an assortment of objects fly towards Joe from the foreground, including flower pots, cooking pots, soccer balls, rocks, light bulbs, and bombs. Joe rapidly strikes all these things away, sending them flying at many different angles all over the stage. The attack ends with Joe uppercutting a large barrel, which shatters into pieces that fly in a forward arc. Joe's on-screen appearance is also the Karate Combo. Here, a light bulb flies in from the foreground, and Karate Joe appears from its shadow, striking it away along with several flower pots, ending with a barrel. It's directly the Karate Combo. For his side taunt, Joe makes a face at the camera. It might be a smile, or a blush, or a blushing smile, or that face. During the up taunt, the word grrr appears above Joe's head, and for his down taunt, a thought bubble appears and Joe thinks about another Rhythm Heaven game, such as Rhythm Tweezers or Hole-in-One. Joe's victory screens are based on the endings you can get from completing Karate Man games. In Victory 1, Joe turns his back on the camera and practices his karate moves. For Victory 2, Joe sits and meditates. And for Victory 3, Joe does a flying kick, followed by several other karate poses. His victory theme is the superb rating from Rhythm Heaven Megamix. Karate Joe's default outfit is the white from the original Karate Man, and his alternatives are based on other appearances. I went with yellow from Rhythm Heaven's Karate Man 2, blue from Karate Man Kicks, orange-red from Karate Man Combos, an outfit inspired by Karate Man Sr., Player 1 Karate Joe from Rhythm Heaven Fever, as well as Player 2 Karate Joe, and a special outfit based on the Karate Man Uptempo remix from Rhythm Tengoku Arcade. That actually still leaves quite a few outfits from other remixes that I didn't utilize. The Kirby hat just gives Kirby a dark outline, kind of like the white outline from Mr. Game & Watch, as well as Joe's hair and nose. Although a lot of people seem to be on board with the idea of a Rhythm Heaven character being in Super Smash Bros., there's not a huge rallying cry for Karate Joe specifically. I'm sure a large part of this is, as mentioned before, the fact that Joe was never the rumored character for Smash Bros. In the first place. It was the chorus kids, so that stuck with a lot of people, among other possibilities as well. Let's compare this with Golden Sun. It's another small, unrepresented Nintendo franchise, but the fandom is almost unanimously united under Isaac as a playable character, above all other choices. There's other factors at play here. Isaac has been a request for a very long time. But the end result is that it's hard to imagine Karate Joe getting in through fan demand. But Rhythm Heaven as a series has been growing. Hopefully it'll continue, maybe even get a Switch game, and perhaps we'll see more of it in Smash in the future. As it is, it has a lot of spirits. But I sometimes worry we're past the prime time for this to have already happened. Smash 4 didn't add a Rhythm Heaven character as it might have intended, and Smash Ultimate added so few new characters that it wasn't a priority. I just hope Rhythm Heaven persists. I grew up as a musician, and I always wanted to see Nintendo keep a signature, iconic music series. Donkey Konga didn't stick, and Elite Beat Agents didn't last as long as I'd hoped either. I want Rhythm Heaven to be the one that stays. And if it does, I think Karate Joe would be a great addition to Super Smash Bros. And offer a really fun new way to play. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this moveset or what you think of Karate Joe in the comments below. See you next time for the next character.